Hello wonderful world, Elayne here, and today I'm going to be telling you guys about the books that I read in the month of February. Now I will say this is going to be a rather short wrap up because I only read 4.5 books this month. Was crazy busy with school, extracurricular activities, my sorority, all kinds of crazy awesome stuff going on, but I was really busy and I wasn't able to spend as much of my free time reading as I would have liked to. That being said, 4.5 books, that's fine. Life happens. I want to read 50 books this year and I think I've already read 9. So that's an okay place to be. Without further ado, let me tell you guys about the books I read. The first book that I read in February was Shadow and Bone by Leigh Bardugo. Oh my gosh, why have I never read this series until now? Am I supposed to be this attracted to the Darkling? Am I supposed to be this attracted to the Darkling? Is that bad? Is that bad? Because even at the end of this book, I was like, as soon as Leigh Bardugo introduced him, I was like, oh. She said, pale skinny white boy with curly dark hair, and I said, yes ma'am, Leigh Bardugo, yes ma'am. Shadow and Bone is the first in a YA fantasy trilogy by Leigh Bardugo. It's full of magic, full of action, full of adventure. I don't really want to tell you too much about it because I think that's the best way to go into it if you don't know what it's about. Basically, there is a girl who discovers that she has a power that she didn't know she had, and she has to like do stuff with her power, okay? And like there's also this scary thing called the Fold, and it's like literally like a wall of darkness, and when you enter the wall there's like creepy monsters and things that will attack you, and it's like split the country in two and they have to try to figure out what to do. And that's pretty much it. Lots of magic. There's a whole new world of magic that was really interesting to learn about called the Grisha. And yeah, I feel like that's all I'm gonna say. I wanted to read this and I'm trying to read the rest of them. I'm actually reading Siege and Storm right now before the TV show comes out. I just watched the trailer after I finished the book. The trailer is amazing. I am so excited. I'm so excited. It looks so good. It actually looks like it's gonna be pretty faithful. So I'm really excited about that. And the Fold looks so freaking cool. Oh my gosh. I am literally so excited. As for the book, I will say it wasn't the most eloquently written thing I've ever read. Now I think this might be her first novel, I'm not quite sure, and I know it came out a long time ago, like 2012 or something, so maybe that's why. I've heard that it gets better as the series progresses. I ended up giving this book 4 out of 5 stars. I feel like I could have given it a 3 from a more like literary objective standpoint, but I had to give it 4 stars because of the Darkling. And just the twists and turns that were taken on, like, oh my gosh. I was not prepared for this. I was not prepared for this to be so good. Here's the thing, I went into the Shadow and Bone series knowing absolutely nothing. And I think that was an awesome way to go into it because I was shocked and I got to learn about the world from like scratch, which was super awesome. I also want to add that the reason I gave it 4 stars too is because the dialogue is kind of not the best. There are some dialogue things that I was like, what? But I've heard that it gets better, so I'm excited to see how this story grows, especially as Leigh Bardugo grows as a writer. I feel like she's awesome. I follow her on Instagram and she's so cool, and I'm excited to see like her craft really grow and develop. Okay, so this is the book that I only read half of. If you watch my Valentine's Day reading vlog, you're gonna be like, what the heck? You didn't finish it? That's Chaos Walking, The Knife of Never Letting Go by Ness. I really enjoyed this book. Well, the 300, dang, I was almost done. I had like this much left. It's fine. I will finish it. But I only got to about 300 pages in February. I'm really liking this book. It's really full of like twists and turns, and it's got like a thrill factor. Like it's by no means a horror novel or scary, but it's like a thriller. And so you're like, they're coming, oh my gosh, like run faster, you know what I mean? Like that's what I felt like while I was reading this book. So I did really like the way that it really drew me into the story. Like I felt like I was there. And I also really liked the narrator. He is so freaking funny. I cannot wait to see Tom Holland play him. And it's not just because he says funny things, like we're just hearing all of his thoughts, and just sometimes he thinks things and I'm like, that's funny, even though he's not trying to be. So Chaos Walking is a YA sci-fi novel. I thought it was a dystopian novel, but I have learned that it's not. There's like aliens and stuff. Kind of. I'm not entirely sure about the world yet, because you kind of learn about the world with the main character, which I think is a really, really cool thing to do, but it does add to this like level of confusion that you feel as a reader. But basically, this book starts out in a little town where no women exist, like women have gone extinct. And the remaining men in this town can hear each other's thoughts. And not just the other men, like they can hear every living thing around them. They can hear all their thoughts. So Todd, the main character, he can hear his dog's thoughts. He can hear who he lives with thoughts, like everybody's thoughts, okay? Constantly, there's just this stream of noise, and it's called the noise. And Todd is in the swamp one day, and he runs into this spot where there's no noise. And he's like, what is this madness? And it's a girl. Crazy stuff happens, and it's kind of where the book takes off. I will finish this. I will. I want to finish it before I watch the movie. I'm not going to let myself watch the movie until I finish this book. I literally have like 200-ish pages left. Maybe even less than that. I can do this. I can finish this book. I don't know why I didn't finish it. I honestly think it was because I wanted to read Siege and Storm so badly. I don't know. Also, like, this isn't the typical kind of books that I read. I'm not a huge sci-fi person, so I think I was really trying to force myself into the genre, and I think I needed to take it slowly just because I'm not used to all this craziness. I will finish this. I read half of it, so 4.5 books. The next book that I read this month I actually listened to on audiobook, and that is Brave Not Perfect by Reshma Sejani. So this was like a self-help book, I guess. This book started out as a TED Talk that the author gave about how women are wired to try to be perfect and why we're like this and what we can do to combat it. And it blew up, right? And went crazy viral. So the author decided to write a book. She has a really cool story. She ran for Congress in New York and she lost like by a landslide. She says it was like a horrible public failure, and she writes about how she bounced back from that. And she also started Girls Who Code. I don't know if you guys have heard of that, but it's like a national organization. It's in like schools all over the place, and it's trying to get girls into STEM careers and learning how to code, and it's a really awesome organization. But she's the founder of that, and she has no coding experience. She tells about how women are wired to try to be perfect. We act like there's nothing wrong, or we don't take risks, and we don't volunteer for things and jump into things. And she writes like why women are like this and what we can do to kind of switch it around and be brave instead of being perfect. I loved this book. I learned so much from it. I gave it 4 out of 5 stars. The only reason I gave it 4 stars instead of 5 was because towards the ending, there's like action steps that you can do, and I didn't like it as much, especially as an audiobook version. The ending was a little bit weak for me, but I loved the first part. Personally, I am a person who tries to be perfect, and I guess I've just always thought that like that is the goal. Like we should want to be perfect, have perfect lives, perfect grades, look perfect, act perfect, you know? And I never saw perfect as a bad word. And as I got older, I realized just how hard it is to be perfect and how much of a toll it really does take on your mental health. I was trying to find a book to read that was a little bit more self-helpish just because, I don't know, I just felt like I needed that right now in my life. And I stumbled upon this one. I saw the word perfect and I read it and I loved it, and it has completely changed my perspective. I loved it and I highly recommend it, especially if you are a woman and especially if you work with children at all. I definitely recommend Brave Not Perfect. I even sent it to my mom and I can't speak highly enough about it and just how much it changed my perspective. It's kind of crazy to think like this book changed my perspective, but like I'm not kidding when I say it did. It really, really helped me, and it really helped me take a step back and look at the ways I was thinking and why I was thinking like that and how I can kind of switch it up. So yeah, I really, really enjoyed that book. The next book that I read this month is also an audiobook, and it is Long Way Down by Jason Reynolds. 5 out of 5 stars. Phenomenal, amazing, can't rave enough about it. Long Way Down is a book told in verse. It's very short, it goes really quickly, and it's literally about this guy. And He's going down an elevator. He's rethinking what he's about to do while he's going down this elevator. It has a Christmas Carol vibes. I will say there's trigger warnings for like gun violence and death and grief. The narrator is a Black 16-year-old and he just went through a major loss and he is deciding what his next step should be. And he is deciding this all in the course of one elevator ride. This book is so beautiful. It is written, oh, it's just written in such an amazing way. It's such a short book and it literally takes place in the course of one elevator ride. And so much happens in these tiny elevator ride. And I really feel like it's so profound and it makes you think because the identity of the narrator is completely different than mine and I've never had the experiences that the narrator has. And so it really, really was good for like opening my eyes and letting me get into somebody else's shoes. But at the end, the author says he's not really trying to make you learn anything from the book, but I think you do definitely learn a lot. And the author makes you learn a lot in such an organic way. It doesn't feel like he's forcing a lesson on you. And he said he's not trying to, but you do learn a lot. And I just thought it was so beautiful and I highly recommend this book to everyone. The last book I read this month, not that fun. It's not fun at all. It's called The Opening of the American Mind by Lawrence W. Levine. I had to read this for my liberal studies class. So in college I created my own major and it's technically called a BA of Liberal Studies. So I have to take this course about the importance of a liberal education. And it's a really interesting course and I did enjoy this book. It's just really dry. The font, not a fan, just not a fan. I did highlight in it. I felt like a cool kid. Highlight, wrote some words in there. Wow. This book is literally just about how college curriculum has changed over the years. There's kind of been a pushback from professors and some historians who are like, we can't teach about diversity, that's taking away from the like classics and what college should be about. And he kind of pushes back and says, no, like the American mind is opening. Like we have all these cultures. We should be teaching all about them. We should be teaching about diversity. We should have different courses besides just ones about white straight men. It was a really cool book and I learned a lot and I learned a lot more about college education and its history than I ever thought I would need to know or know. I didn't give it a rating because I don't usually like to rate educational material. And I also feel like I don't really know how to rate this. I've never read another book that's like this. He calls out a lot of people by name in their books in this book. And maybe if I read them, I could like understand how better to line these up and like compare them. But yeah, this just, it was a good book, but like it wasn't nothing special. If you're interested in college education and how we've dealt with like assimilation and teaching diversity and integrating new cultures into education, like this is the book for you. So that's it. I read Shadow and Bone, 4 out of 5 stars. Chaos Walking, TBD. Brave Not Perfect, 4 out of 5 stars. Long Way Down, 5 out of 5 stars. And The Opening of the American Mind, no rating. So yeah, 4.5 books. Not great, not bad. Average. Hopefully I'll read a little bit more in March. I've got spring break and stuff, but I hope that wherever you guys are doing, you are doing oh so well. I am always here for you. Let me know what books you read in February down in the comments, and I will talk to you guys oh so soon. Have a wonderful day.